What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Vet, and it is good to have you with me tonight. So, we're gonna talk about some stuff tonight. You know, at the Poindexter Lounge, I try to keep things on point around here. I want to keep things on point. I want to keep things nerdy. I want to keep talking about, the stuff that we love, right? I don't have time to get into a bunch of political jargon with a bunch of people and stupidity and, everybody. And here's the thing. Everybody's got a different point of view. And I'm fine with that. And I have plenty of discussions with people about different things. And I don't, that's not what this is about. This is not a debate. That's why I didn't bring it to the council tonight to have the council talk about it, because I'm not looking to necessarily debate people. I just want to talk about, if you've been around the channel for any amount of time, you know that I try to balance things out, right? I don't just say a bunch of stuff. You know that if you come to this channel, I'm not just going to report stuff, as news that's not real. I'm not going to, if there's something that turns out to not be real here on the channel, then, it's not because I just flagrantly, I almost said, flagrantly just ran with a story, about whatever, about a show or a movie or anything like that. I try to really make sure that what we talk about here is on point. And this has just bugged me a little bit, because I think as a society, if we want to see real things change, if we want to see the bad things get taken care of, the things that we all agree, and so I want to start out by saying that what happened to Mr. Floyd was horrendous. It was the worst thing that could happen to somebody. And those kind of things we need to condemn. Okay? Those kind of actions we need to condemn. We need to do everything in our power as a society to make sure that those things don't continue happening. And that we're not having this discussion 5, 10, 20 years from now about this same kind of stuff, about abuse of power, about abuse of a system, about people who are in power who do bad things. We got to talk about that stuff. So let me just come right out the gate and say, that's not what this is about. This is not me coming on here, trying to beat on other people's opinions about all that, because I don't. What has happened has been a horrible thing. But as I always try to point out here, when we talk about stuff, when I talk about everybody's opinions, and when I talk about respecting everybody's opinions, I think it's very important that we focus on things that are actually going to change the problems that we face, instead of getting sidetracked on a bunch of stuff that means nothing, that ain't going to change a thing. It's not going to change anybody's opinion, and it's all just rhetoric and noise. I try to point you guys, when we're debating stuff, when we're talking about stuff to do with frivolous stuff, because when we look at it, it's frivolous stuff, man. When we're talking about nerd stuff, it's just our fun stuff. It's the stuff that we care about because we're nerds. But in the bigger scheme of life, those things have to take a back seat when we talk about serious, life-changing, life and death, real issues. That being said, these last couple weeks have been really rough for our nation, have been really rough have been very sad and a horrible thing for our black friends. And I know I have many black friends who are feeling that, who are feeling the hurt and the pain. And I cannot stand here or sit here as a white man and tell you that I understand all the things that go along with that. I can't. That's not my place to do. It is not my place to try to speak for anyone else about these things. What I do want to talk about tonight, though, is the frivolous, the silly, the downright, shall I say, stupid ideas that all of a sudden, because there have been bad cops who did bad things, those people need to be punished. Those people need to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. We need to have better policies in place to prevent those things from happening again. We need to make sure that we revamp our policies, that need be go throughout our precincts, go throughout our police forces and weed out those types of people, because those types of people have no business serving the public, because they're not serving the public. Let's call it what it is. They're not serving the public. They're serving their own personal interests. And when you take that role as a police officer, you're taking a role to protect and serve, not just who you agree with, not just who you relate to, not just with people of your own color or your own background. You are taking an oath to protect and serve the community. And the community is based up of everyone. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, gay, heterosexual, everybody who follows the LGBTQ community, everybody within that. Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever. Everybody in that is included when you become a police officer. There can be no bias when it comes to how you do your job in protecting the community. And so I want to set that stage. I want to set that bar before we get into what we're talking about tonight, because what we're talking about tonight, I don't want it to sidetrack into these discussions about, oh, well, is this racist? Is that racist? Is whatever? And trying to have that conversation about the topic tonight, because the topic tonight is something completely separate from that. What are we talking about tonight? Well, it's right in there. All of a sudden, we've got all these people who are calling for the cancellation of all police shows, pretty much. They already got Live PD canceled. Cops has been canceled, which I was shocked. I mean, I'm here all alone, but I would have to yell in the other room to see if Tiffany even knew when she gets home. Cops is still on the air? Where was Cops, man? Like, I haven't watched Cops since I was a kid. I remember Cops, being on reruns. I thought that was the last that we had heard of Cops, because Cops was on reruns forever. I mean, we have laughed at Cops. We have, and to be quite honest with you, I've laughed more at the white people being arrested on Cops and seen more publicity for that stuff than I ever saw of the black community on Cops. But apparently Cops has still been around. And and that's fine. Like, if people aren't ready to see real life situations, with a real life cop show, I get that to a certain extent. I can actually, so let me go that far with you, that I get that, right? If it's too painful and too hard for people to see, but then there's the other thought of mine that says, well, then watch something else. You don't have to watch Cops. I haven't watched Cops in a couple decades. Yeah, Emblems and Capes said they've also canceled Body Cam. That was a spinoff of Live PD, First Responders Live, and a bunch of other police, reality shows. So I understand it if I understand that there is a segment of our community that right now probably can't respond to that. They probably can't watch that without certain emotions, coming up. And I even get it if it's not profitable for that station to put out that show anymore because of that, because maybe its viewership had traditionally been one demographic or another. I mean, they know who's watching the show. They know what age groups, they know what nationalities, what races, whatever. They know who's watching the shows. So if you come to me and you say, Enosh, well, the people who predominantly watch those shows are not going to be there to watch those shows or aren't watching those shows anymore, then that dictates whether a show stays on or not. I don't think from what I've seen of those shows that it's like they were racist shows. Like I said, I've watched Cops since I watched Cops, man, when I was a kid, and even after that, everybody's always joked about the redneck white hillbilly people that they find, on Cops and drag them out, and I mean they're acting like idiots and everything else. So they've canceled a bunch of those shows. Then today, and look, I didn't need to do a live video. I didn't need to do this for Cops. Okay, Cops to me, I mean, if I don't even know the show's been on for a couple of decades, it's probably not that relevant. But when I hear people, and I know there's some people who say, "Oh, it was a joke," I've perused throughout Twitter today, social media, and other outlets, and it's not just a joke. There are literally people right now wanting to call for the cancellation of Paw Patrol, a children's cartoon that has never thought of portraying anything racist or negative, or a negative stereotype of the police, or a negative stereotype of the people that the police interact with. The dogs, actually, they're dogs, they're cartoon dogs that they interact with. Paw Patrol, they help people. It has a theme of them helping one another and helping other animals and helping save other animals and being there for people. My God, have we lost our minds? That we somehow think canceling a kid's show like Paw Patrol, is going to somehow speak to or resolve the issues that we're faced with. I would think it's more important for a show like Paw Patrol that portrays positive reinforcement of policemen and women, of firefighters, of first responders, so that kids are inspired to grow up and become good cops, to become good first responders, to become good firefighters, those kind of people. What are we doing? And this is what I want to talk about tonight, because this has gotten to be absolutely ridiculous when we're calling for that. And Johnny, I'm glad you brought this up, because I was already upset about the stupid Paw Patrol thing, right? I was already really upset about the Paw Patrol thing, because I thought this is just dumb. It's a cartoon, and Johnny, you just brought up a really good point that I want to bring up, because we're nerds. We're that's why we're here, right? And I don't want to bum anybody out with this serious talk, but let's talk about the ramifications towards superheroes and comic books and all those things that we love, because. Look, I don't watch Paw Patrol. I got a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a kid who's about to turn 18 in 2 weeks, okay? So nobody in this house is watching Paw Patrol. Maybe the dogs. No. Nobody's watching Paw Patrol. I have fallen asleep a couple times at night and woken up in the morning and Paw Patrol was on. When I had my weight loss surgery, I fell asleep in the hospital, and when I woke up the next day, I didn't have the energy to actually turn the TV off, so I was literally sitting there with a morphine drip that I was hitting every 15 minutes because I was in such pain, hitting that morphine drip, and somebody forgot to turn my TV off, and it was on Nickelodeon all night long, and I had to listen to SpongeBob all night long, which I don't mind SpongeBob. I actually like SpongeBob. But I had to watch SpongeBob all night long, which is an acid trip in itself sometimes, and then woke up to Paw Patrol, a whole morning of Paw Patrol, and none of the nurses turned it off. Nobody turned it off for me, so there I am. I'll tell you what, you'll never experience something like Paw Patrol and morphine every 15 minutes in your life. But then all of a sudden, somebody mentioned something that ticked me off and started getting me thinking about what are the ramifications for all these other things? When somebody says and suggested, oh, well, they should cancel Brooklyn Nine-Nine again. I swear, you come for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you're going to get this video. Paw Patrol, I don't watch. I will fight for the kids who watch Paw Patrol because I think it's a good thing for them to watch. But you come for Brooklyn Nine-Nine again, and we're going to have some serious words. That show is one of the best shows on TV. It's hilarious. I love Andy Samberg, which is really what's ironic about this is you got a TV show that is probably for the left-leaning people. I mean, it's made by a bunch of people who are left-leaning, who are left-thinking, who are liberals. I mean, it's got Captain Holt, who is a gay captain. You couldn't have a more leftist show, but I love that show because it's hilarious. I don't judge a show by who's in it. I don't judge a show by the politics of the people behind it, and I don't judge a show because there's a gay main character in it or whatever. Like, there's a lot of times I get stereotyped because people know that I'm a minister. Oh, well, you must not like this, or you shouldn't like this, you should like it. Look, it's a hilarious show. I love Lonely Island. I'll admit it right here. I love Lonely Island. If you've never listened to Lonely Island, it's Andy Samberg's band. All those SNL skits and songs and everything, man. I've got the 4 Lonely Island albums that came out a couple years ago. The Pop Star movie came out. Nobody saw it. It's unfortunate because it was a hilarious movie. Andy Samberg is my type of comedy. I think it's hilarious. That show got canceled once from Fox because Fox does a horrible job with its shows. Look what they've done with the Orville. How many times have we talked about the Orville here on the channel, where they've completely cut the Orville's legs out from underneath of them? It's supposed to come back on Hulu, but it's been over a year now. There's been absolutely no news, and that was the best show on TV at the time. It had an awesome storyline. The 2 seasons that we got were tremendous. The special effects were awesome. They were great. They were fantastic. And then, Fox, oh, we don't want to do that show anymore. So then, we got told publicly that, it was just better that it went to Hulu for Seth MacFarlane. Well, where's the show? I haven't seen it come back. I haven't even heard any rumors of it. And it's supposed to be coming to Hulu, but we haven't seen it. But now they're talking about, you're going to cancel Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Well, they haven't said they're going to cancel. I want to be I'm going to be straight up. Okay, I have not seen them say that they're going to cancel Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I've seen plenty of people calling for it. Plenty of people calling for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, calling for Paw Patrol, and various other police TV shows. So I thought, where's the line? This is crossing a line. This is dealing with something now that it's like, we've crossed over from, okay, we're going to take things seriously and we're going to deal with these issues, to all of a sudden we're just going to talk stupid talk. Because TV shows that involve cops now are bad. You can't like that. You can't like a TV show that involves a cop, even if it's a little puppy cop. No, that's wrong. You can't like that anymore. You're going to done go and tick me off. Because we fought to get Brooklyn Nine-Nine back. NBC picked it up. And now you're going to tell me it's going to be different. How are you going to make a cop show that's different than them being cops? What are they all going to get defunded and go into private life, and we're just going to have to watch them in their everyday life when they have no reason for being around each other, no reason for coming together? They're not going to be cops anymore because that's not a show. Can we please think with our brains for a minute? Can we please stop with this nonsense? You are not dealing with a problem by calling for innocent TV shows that have nothing to do, no negativity towards any of this stuff that's gone on in our country in the last couple of weeks. None of that stuff, no influence on that, no influence by that. And we're going to call for those things to be canceled. Now look, there's things that I understand. There's things that I get. Uh, a lot of people were reporting. Thank you, Johnny. A lot of people were reporting that Gone with the Wind. HBO Max. They've taken Gone with the Wind off. No, let's talk about the real story about why Gone with the Wind got taken off of HBO Max. It was never just getting taken off of HBO Max. I've seen plenty of channels running with that story to get clicks, to get views, to get responses out of their fan bases and of their people, to call for for this somehow this anger about this and to get people all riled up. I even saw Mike Zero. Yes, Mike Zero, the person that I just love to harp on because he's an idiot. He proved once again that he's an idiot because he actually ventured outside of his lying about Star Wars to lie about HBO Max and Gone with the Wind. Mike, you need to stay in your lane because you're an idiot. He actually read their press release, which said that they were taking it down because of, obviously, there's a lot of racial tension in that movie. When we're talking about movies from back then, man, there's a lot of stuff in those movies that do not apply to our society today. And I understand that. And as a level-headed person, I am willing to go there with some things, right? I am willing to go to the place. When Dumbo came out on Disney Plus and they put a disclaimer in front of it that said, look, this is where we're at with this. We're going to put a disclaimer in front of Dumbo because there are racial stereotypes that we don't support, but we still want to be able to present this movie in its original form. They didn't change it. They didn't cut anything out. They presented Dumbo in its original form, but it comes with a disclaimer. I'm fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. And that's what happened with Gone with the Wind. Now, I'm sure you have all heard it reported. If you're on YouTube as much as I am, I'm sure you have heard it reported now that, they took Gone with the Wind off the air. They've taken it down like it wasn't coming back. People, I encourage you strongly, when you see somebody reporting something that sounds weird or that sounds over the top, go research it for yourself. Because that is not the case. Yes, they took it down. Yes, because they're going to actually put it back. You hear me? They're going to put it back up with a disclaimer. And they actually released a press release that said, we want to present this movie as it is. We don't want to take anything out of it. They didn't want to edit it, to chop it up and take racially, negative things out of the movie. They wanted to present the movie as it was in its original form, and they said that specifically. We do not want to alter the movie, so we are going to take it down, put a disclaimer in front of it so that it states, look, we don't align with this thinking, but this is the movie that represents a time frame in society. And they even said, because if you take stuff away and you act like it didn't exist, we're basically doomed to repeat it. I can live with that. That's not how I'm sure a lot of you heard it reported. That's not how Mike Zero reported it, because Mike Zero literally came out after he read the press release word for word where they said they didn't want to alter it. He's going on and on like an idiot about how like he thinks it's wrong that they're going to alter the movie and change the movie. The man who's all for George Lucas chopping up and spitting out Star Wars every time he gets a whim of, what should be in the movie now. So, like I said, when we talk about stuff on this channel, we're going to talk about the real things. We're not going to talk about false, made-up things. We're not going to talk up made-up, hysteria and all this stuff. Let's talk about the real things. When is it crossing the line? If you just take down Gone with the Wind and you say we're not putting it back up because we don't agree with it, that's crossing a line. And like was said, and we're going to get you guys' comments in a minute, so keep commenting because we're definitely going to talk about your comments. But the thing is that if you just take it down, you know, it's ended up selling tons of copies. I mean, the thing, you can hardly find it now because people wanted to get a copy of Gone with the Wind, which I do tell you, invest in physical media. I've got tons of DVDs. I've got tons of Blu-rays because yes, there are some movies that are getting changed. And I think that that's rubbish. I think that that's bullcrap is what that is. You know, I think that it's wrong. You don't just change media just for whatever reason on a whim because you don't agree with something. You know, like Back to the Future. Like I'm not up here promoting that we have a bunch of you know, scantily clad women or whatever, but literally they changed the scene from the original movie. It's a piece of art. You don't just go willy-nilly changing. And I say that as a Star Wars fan coming to you from a room filled with Star Wars stuff. And it's one of the things that I'm ticked off most with about Star Wars. There was a day and time when the Star Wars special editions came out where I was super excited about it because there was going to be unseen footage. And somewhere along the line it went from unseen footage that we were going to get to see more of the original vision to all of a sudden we're just going to go at the whim of whatever George Lucas decides he wants to add or take away from the movies. That I have a problem with. When you take Shaw. I can't remember his first name right now. But the original guy who played Anakin Skywalker at the end of Return of the Jedi. When you take him out of the movie at the end as a Force ghost and you put in Hayden Christensen and it makes no sense thematically, it makes no sense as far as the script, it makes no sense as far as you got an older Alec Guinness and you got young Hayden Christensen and you got to try to fill in all this backstory of possibly why, and it doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. When my kids have never heard the Yub Nub song just watching Star Wars with us unless I pull it out and show it to them, which was a part of my childhood with that movie, it ticks me off. When you fill it with cartoon idiocies, you know, and big, huge red lips coming near the screen and all that junk, it's stupid. It's too far. And I feel like this, all of a sudden we're going to cancel all police shows. What is this going to go into the movies? You know, they've been trying to get a Beverly Hills Cop 4. I just watched Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3 with my kids. And my wife, we watched all 3 movies. The kids loved it and stuff. We've watched other cop movies and stuff that are good movies. And so now what, are we just going to get rid of all those now? Or are we never going to be able to have another cop movie again? Because God forbid, we can't just sandwich everything into something and say, well, it's all completely bad and we're just going to get rid of it now. That's emotion. That's emotions talking. I understand it's emotion. I don't understand that. I can't sit here as a white man and explain to you and tell you that I understand where it all comes from and understand all of that. All I can do is ask the question and call for us to actually have conversations, to have us actually come together and work together for good, to make changes, to make differences in our world, to respect each other, and to call for change. But taking Paw Patrol off television is not going to make that change. It's stupid. It is literally stupid. And we've seen way too much of this in the last couple of weeks. Like I did a whole other video this week about what's his name getting fired from The Flash, okay, over tweets that happened, 6-8 years ago. And then immediately after that, people started calling for Danielle Panabaker to get fired because of two things. Because she dated a guy before who said racist things that she broke up with when he came out saying it. And then people calling her a racist somehow because she must be racist because I hate this term. I hate this new term. Oh my gosh, if I could just destroy a term, I would. But this shipping term, that they're shipping these people and shipping those people. But she started shipping Caitlyn, her character on The Flash, with Barry, the Flash, you know, and they gave him the names, what was it, Snow Bear or whatever, or Snowball or what, I don't even know anymore. It's stupid because she plays Killer Frost. And all she had said was, man, she would, you know, she thinks they would make a cute couple or whatever. So now she's undermining the black character played by Candace there, Iris West. She's somehow undermining that character. We're losing control of reality is what we're doing. We're too busy, all of a sudden, condemning everything, making huge issues out of stuff that's non-issues instead of dealing with the real issues. And that's the problem. There are real issues to be dealt with, but this is a great way to somehow distract from those. Because we don't want to deal with the real issues. We'd rather distract and talk about stuff that doesn't matter, like canceling Paw Patrol. I dare, there's 2 downvotes on this video. I dare somebody to come into, and maybe you have, I don't know, but I'm going to read here the comments, and we're going to go through the comments here in a second, and I would love to hear somebody explain to me, you 2 downvoters, if you're still here, if you think that what I'm saying is so bad, you explain to me how it is that canceling Paw Patrol is going to somehow change the relationships of the police with the black community or anybody else. How is that going to change that? How is canceling Brooklyn Nine-Nine going to change that? When you literally have a police force on that show that's made up ethnically of everybody. Black, white, Latino, female, male, gay, heterosexual, bisexual. Like, seriously. But let's just willy-nilly go cancel everything, because that's, if you don't see it in front of you, if we never see police again in front of us on TVs or movies or whatever, it's a good thing. So what are you going to do next? Are you going to call for Commissioner Gordon to be taken out of the Batman movie? And I know a couple of you brought that up, but let's just get ahead of the conversation a little bit. Are we going to literally get rid of Commissioner Gordon because Commissioner Gordon's a police officer? Beloved character. Comes alongside Batman. Should we get rid of Commissioner Gordon? You tell me. You tell me, 2 downvoters. That is a joke. That is an absolute joke. To sit here and try to tell me that canceling all these people, canceling all this stuff, making it all go away so you don't have to look at it anymore. Because God forbid you would have to be faced with something that you would actually have to have a discussion and actually have to let's treat each other like human beings. No, let's not do that. Let's just cancel everything. Let's cancel everybody. Let's cancel all the shows. Let's cancel everybody. Like, we shouldn't have heroes in general. Let's get rid of all superheroes, because Superman and Batman, boy, they work with the police, right? Captain America, Iron Man and everything, they work with the police in those worlds. They do. Spider-Man, he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and we see him turning in villains to the police. So let's totally undo that. No more superhero movies. No more police movies or TV shows. Because they're all bad. And we don't want to see them anymore. I don't know, folks. This is such a ridiculous topic. This is such a ridiculous thing now that we have to have that. Now we're going to cancel police shows and movies and all this stuff, and we act like this is perfectly acceptable. That this is just normal. That this is a normal thing that we should be doing. That this somehow makes sense. That this is somehow activism. This is somehow going to change people's minds and change people's perceptions of things and make a difference in our world. No, it's not. It's not going to make any difference. And look, if you've been around the channel long enough, you know I respect everybody's opinion. I respect everybody's thoughts. And all I ask if you have an opinion and we have a conversation about it, let's be real. Let's talk in real terms. Let's give each other mutual respect. And I would never stand here, I would never sit here on this channel and tell the viewers of these videos and other people watching or whatever, I would never sit here and try to tell you that there are not issues in our society. I would not stand here and try to tell you that there are not issues within police departments all over our country. And that there are things that need to be addressed. That there's probably better training that needs to be, you know, I mean, I'll just say this, people are calling for defunding the police. How about we pay for better training and better ways to weed out those people who would do such things as what happened to Mr. Floyd? Because that would make a difference. If we have better things in place, better hiring practices, you know, better things when people are in the academy, that we're actually zeroing in on these things and finding out where people stand on these issues, where people stand on racial tensions and how they view people in general. If you're a white person, how do you view black people? How do you view Hispanic people? If you're a black person, how do you view the other communities that you're going to be able to serve, that you're going to have to serve? You know, even if you're a Christian, how are you going to serve the Muslim communities that you serve? If you're a heterosexual, how are you going to serve the gay people in your community? Or other members of the LGBTQ, I can't remember the two newest ones right now. The plus. How, and I don't say that flippantly, I'm just saying I don't remember right now. But how are you going to serve those communities? Maybe we should put some more funding into those things instead of saying, oh, I know what it'll do. I know it'll fix the problem. Cancel Paw Patrol. So the kids cannot see a positive image and a positive reinforcement of law enforcement. You want people to be able to have relationships and feel better around police and authority figures like that? How about you work on those relationships? When I was growing up, we grew up in a neighborhood where, you know what? All the black kids in my neighborhood, we had a community police officer who would walk around our neighborhood. And all of us, white kids, black kids, Hispanic kids, I grew up in a bad part of the city of Flint, Michigan. But you know what? All the kids in our neighborhood that I grew up with, didn't matter if they were black, white, Latino, anything. All those kids, when they would see Officer Smalley, a white police officer, male police officer walking down the street, they'd go up to him. Some of them would give him a hug. Some of them, I mean, everybody would say hello. Everybody loved Officer Smalley, respected Officer Smalley, and they weren't afraid of him because he was a good guy. And he cared about the community that he served. How about more community policing like that, where the police actually get out? You know, every time you see this negative stuff, I see things like, you know, police getting called out to stop kids from playing basketball in the street, and then they go out and they play basketball with them. Have you seen videos like that? Have you seen videos where the cops actually got Shaq, I think it was at one point, to go out with them and actually play basketball instead of listening to the old fuddy-duddies or whoever it was who was calling the cops on them saying, "Dad, we don't want these kids playing basketball in the road." Instead of going and stopping these kids or taking away their property or arresting them or whatever, or shaking them down, they went out and actually got somebody like Shaq and went out and played basketball with him. You can find that video online. Those are the types of reinforcements that we need. Those are the types of ideals that we need to reinforce in our communities. With our black communities, with our white communities. We need a focus on respect and love for all. That's the only way we're going to see any kind of healing, any kind of difference made. It is not going to happen overnight. I will definitely give you that. It is not going to change overnight, but I guarantee you canceling Paw Patrol and Brooklyn Nine-Nine or anything else or getting rid of Jim Gordon from Batman is not ever, ever. Do you hear me? The other ways may take some time, but it will happen. But canceling Paw Patrol will never, ever solve those issues. So I hope that at some point during this, those two people, and I appreciate the 7 of you who've given an upvote to this video, because that's what we need. We need the upvotes to be able to get videos like this out there. And if you haven't already, I would ask you, please, hey, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, I know there's channels that I just watch sometimes that I forget to subscribe to. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Because we respect everyone here. Thank you for, I just saw somebody upvoted. Thanks. But I would love for one of those two people who obviously had to come in here and tell me that, nope, I hate this idea. I hate this thing. We're going to cancel police shows. We need to cancel Paw Patrol. You explain to me, as I read through your comments, explain to me how canceling Paw Patrol is somehow going to fix race relations between people or fix race relations between the police and the black community. Because I don't see it. I don't see it at all. All right, let's go. Max started off. We're gonna read this. Also, I do want to make you aware before we go on. So tomorrow, speaking of making a difference, we're gonna make a difference here on the channel. Because we're gonna make a difference tomorrow in the lives of kids. While I have you here, tomorrow we're gonna have a concert that's going to be both on our Facebook page, right here on the YouTube channel. A lot of you know I'm a musician. Every year we do a Christmas concert for a local organization here called the Old Newsboys. They've been around for almost 90 years. They've helped over 800,000, almost 900,000 kids. They helped me when I was a kid. You see this? I got this when I was 8 years old, this little E.T. action figure, because every year they make sure that kids have things like clothes, socks, underwear, toothbrush, toothpaste, things, you know, the basics that they need, food, stuff like that. But they also make sure that they get a toy. And I got this when I was 8 years old because we didn't have a lot. My grandma raised me and my 2 sisters because my mom had problems with drugs and alcohol. And this was that. And so every year my band, we do this benefit concert at Christmas time for kids to help and 100% of that goes to helping those kids. The CEO who just passed away a couple of months ago, his name was Chris Hamilton, an amazing guy. He was our area Santa Claus. He just passed away, and it's very sad because that man did not take a salary. He was retired from working in the shop, and he didn't take a salary. But he did so much good for the lives of kids. So tomorrow, we are going to broadcast it live. All the money that we take, we're going to take Cash App. Well, that'll all be in there tomorrow. If you have Cash App, you can give money through Cash App. Also PayPal, or even any super chats that we get from here will go towards that organization, that charity tomorrow. We're going to be on at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So join us tomorrow for that, okay? All right, here we go. So Max was pretty excited that we were going to cover this topic tonight. Eric says, cops have crossed the line. They have abused their power and authority, been unaccountable for abuse and murder for decades, and they are no longer deserving of respect, authority, or power. So Eric, he says, if you abuse it, you should lose it. Here's what I have to say to that. There are people who've done that, and I guarantee you every type of work that people have abused their power. They have been unaccountable for the abuse. Look at the Catholic Church. And I know that there's some who would say, well, let's totally do away with religion in the church. But I can stand here in front of you as a man of God, and I'm not a Catholic, but I'm a man of God, and I know that there are people under the name of God who have done some horrible, horrendous things, and I think that they should be punished to the full extent of the law. They should lose all ability to do those things, to be able to be any kind of minister or person up in front of anyone, or any of those things that they have betrayed the trust of people, of their communities. But as a collective, that is not the case. You're talking literally hundreds of thousands of people who swear to uphold the law, who swear to protect and to serve no matter what. And it's not across the board. And this is the problem, is this is what happens when we do not address the actual issues, but we try to broaden it out to mean all these other things, and just saying, well, everyone in general, we're just going to do away with everyone in general, and we're not going to actually talk about the issues. When we do that, what are we solving? We're not addressing the problem. We're trying to paint with this big brush, and we're not getting to the root of the problem. And you see, that's the things. We got to get down to the root. We got to get down to the root of the problem. Canceling a show like Paw Patrol is not going to solve the issues of the cops that have crossed the line and abused their power. It's not going to do it. It's not going to solve that issue. And it's not even going to even speak to it. Because you're going to take a little kid's TV show away, they're not going to understand that the very deep issue that this is. They're not going to understand that. They're not going to be able to process that. You got to be able to sit down with kids and have a conversation with them about what's right, about what's wrong. And the parents have to instill that in their kids, so when their kids grow up, they're not racists. And they're not abusing their power. And they're not attacking whole groups of people simply on the color, based on the color of their skin. Those are the types of conversations that we have to have. And yes, there are idiot, racist, bigoted people who are cops. And those people need to be found. They need to be weeded out. They need to not just be fired, but they need to be prosecuted for whatever they've done. They need to be taken down. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I agree, if you abuse your power, you should lose it. But it's not everyone. And it's not everything. Darth Tasty, what's up? Says, good evening, Enosh. Alex is here. What's up, Enosh? Johnny was saying, you always try to come to a discussion as informed as you can be. I try. I really try, because I want to have real conversations. I'm not just here to toot my own horn and listen to myself talk. I want to have these conversations with you guys. But like I said, I want to have real conversations. So come at me with a level-headed, non-emotional, and that is the biggest thing. When we let our emotions get away with us, we lose most of those conversations. We lose most of those arguments right there. Emblems, I already read his, that they canceled all these other shows. Johnny brought up Brooklyn Nine-Nine might be coming back completely different for season 8. I don't understand how do you have a season 8 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where it's different than what they are. They're a police precinct. That's the name of it. Emblems and Capes says, I remember watching Cops on Spike TV as a kid. It instilled a sense of fear and respect for the cops. Not a lot of fear, but a healthy amount. Look, when it comes to authority figures, we should always have, not that we're afraid of them. There's two different types of fear. And people talk a lot about this when it comes to God. When the Bible says to fear God, it doesn't mean to literally be cowering and afraid of God. Fear means respect. You know? None of us should be afraid of the police. I don't care if you're white, black, anything else. You should not be in a position. And if you are, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying you shouldn't be. You shouldn't feel like you have to be afraid, I should say, of the police. Now, I understand that there are many who are. And I understand, like I said, I can't say that I understand fully why, because I have not experienced those things. But I hear you. I hear you when you say that to me. And I think that it's unfortunate and it's wrong that that you've been put in a position and in a place where you feel that way. You're not wrong for feeling that way. You're wrong. It's wrong that you've been put in a position where you feel that way because of historical things that have happened. And we as a culture have to mend those things. We have to address those things, root out the problems, and heal. So that there's a day when no one is just scared of the police for no good reason. That the only reason you'd be scared of the police is if you're doing something wrong. That you need to be afraid that the police are going to come and find you and arrest you. But I guarantee you, when we all need the police, we're glad that they're there. Johnny mentioned, he says, cancel culture has grown out of control. Yeah, when we're going after little cartoon dogs, cancel culture has gotten stupid. You've jumped the shark at that point, to me. Darth Tasty said, Paw Patrol should be the exact kind of show that children are watching. Exactly. You know, giving a positive view of what a police officer or a corrections officer or whatever should be. Someone who's respectful. That show, I mean, when I watch that show, it's all about respecting one another. They love one another. They show each other with respect. Isn't that what we want our kids to see? Come on. But yet, you guys, the same people will go out and watch all these action movies and these action shows and everything else, glorifying, you know, all kinds of you know, illegal activities and everything else. But God forbid that we try to make positive reinforcements of good police officers, of people who are doing the job that they're supposed to do. Because you can't sit here, if you come at me with, well, they don't exist, that's just a lie. That's an emotional response that you're just saying. Because it's not true. And we all know that it's not true, but our emotions get the best of us because we're frustrated, and so we just say things. You understand? Christopher says, excuse me, Alex says, when I heard about people going after Paw Patrol, that ticked me off. It's a kid's show. Exactly. It's a kid's show. Christopher says, Twitter wants Paw Patrol canceled. Stupidity at its finest, Enosh. I agree, Christopher. It's the stupidest thing that I've ever seen when it comes to, you know, TV shows and this stuff that we talk about. That they would want to cancel a kid's show for a cartoon dog that's a police officer. Just, I don't know. I don't even know. Johnny said, will Commissioner Gordon have to be written out of Batman's life? Well, that's what I saw that comment, and that's why I brought it up, because it's just dumb. It's just dumb. So now we're just going to say, I mean, Commissioner Gordon is being played by a black man in the new Batman movie. So are we just going to say that Commissioner Gordon now is a racist too because he's a police officer, and so he shouldn't have any role in the new Batman movie? Alex said, if they cancel Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I'm going to be pissed off. I don't blame you. I'm going to be really ticked off if that happens. Emblems and Capes says, will they write out Gordon from Matt Reeves' The Batman? But that version of Gordon... Oh, see, I didn't even see this, but you just said the exact same thing that I was saying. That version of Gordon is black. It meets the woke quota, so he probably won't be cut, but Batman will donate his whole fortune to Black Lives Matter. Look, I'm not against calling bad and good, right? Look, things are what they are. And we can get mad all we want, but the reality is that it makes no sense to just go canceling everything. That's not going to solve any of these problems or any of these issues. Christopher says, Enosh, according to Dean Winchester, says all cop shows are the same. That's just not true. That's just not true. They're not all the same. And honestly, show me a cop show that is enforcing a negative stereotype of cops hating black people. Show me a cop show. If there's one out there that I don't know, then please show me that cop show. Because I will gladly say, if there's a cop show that is promoting cops treating black people in any kind of manner, or inciting violence against black people or anybody else, you show me that show. And I will gladly say that show should be canceled. That show should not be on the air. If we're going to sit there and just have a show that says it's all right for stuff like that to happen. But that I don't see any shows that are saying that. I see shows that are showing that there are people out there who dedicate their lives to protecting people. There are people who want the best for people. There are people who care about others, and they're black, they're white, they're Hispanic, they're Asian, they're everything in between. They're every mix of those races and nationalities. They're everyone. So don't call out a profession, because there's people behind that profession. And anytime there's a human element, there's going to be idiots who are wrong and need to be weeded out. And that's the truth. Johnny had to go. Daniel, I wish that, I wish I could, let me see here if I can translate this. Because I want to read your comment. Let me see. I don't think I have translate on here. Let me see if I can do this real quick, in real time. I think I might have found something. Because everyone's comments are important to me, so I want to see if I've got something here that will just do it. If I can't find it real quick, then I'm just gonna have to we're just gonna have to move on. But I want to try. Why can't I find Google Translate? Why isn't it popping up? I don't know why it's not popping up, guys. I apologize. Try one more thing, and then we're going to move on. I think I found it. Paste it. Translating. This for a brand of hearing. Okay. I don't think that was. I don't think that was something important. Then, all right. Doesn't sound like it. All right, because it looks like it was a ad for a hearing aid or something. So it says, since Gone with the Wind got taken off HBO Max, it is sold a lot on Amazon. Yeah. Darth Tasty says Mike Zero has no lane. He needs to stay off of YouTube. I agree with that. Kavari says, are the rumors true that AT&T is considering selling off WB Game Studios division? I have not heard that. Actually, you know what? I will ask Isaac about that, because Isaac is the resident game guy, and so I will ask him if he has heard any of that. It's either Gitter 92 or Giter 92 says, hey guys, I can't believe this is happening. Christopher Barker, what, really? Paw Patrol? My gosh, Twitter is insane. Absolutely. Alex says they've been showing Beverly Hills Cop on Paramount Network all week, nonstop. And Beverly Hills Cop is classic. You're going to tell me Beverly Hills Cop, which is a portrayal of a black cop that gets the best of everybody, that does things, man, that are just awesome and funny and I mean, for goodness sake. Oh, it's Eddie Murphy. And should we get rid of that? Because all cops, because some cops have abused their power, all cops are bad. So should we get rid of Eddie Murphy's Beverly Hills Cop and just get rid of that and never watch that again? Is that what we should do? You tell me. Because I don't see that. I don't see that solves anything. How does getting rid of Beverly Hills Cop or canceling that, or like I said, Paw Patrol, how does that solve this? Getter says, well, that's hopeful at least. Empario said, exactly, we're losing touch with reality. And that's the thing is, it seems to just get worse every day. That between social media and other avenues, we just seem to be losing the war for reality. That it's just all this nonsense that we're just going to destroy people and destroy everything and tear down everything and accuse everybody of things that just aren't true. Christopher says Twitter isn't in reality. Empario, I agree. Twitter. Look, I try not to use Twitter as little. I use Twitter as little as possible, but I've had to use Twitter a lot more lately. And oh my gosh, I just cannot believe some of the things that I see on Twitter. Some of the things that people say, I'm just like, are you kidding me? What world do you live in? Alex says the biggest hypocrites in this whole hating police are these so-called actors who can afford their own security detail. That's, Alex, that's a whole other thing. These are the same people who want to take away everybody else's guns, yet they want to yet they have their own security detail who all have guns. And we all know it. Guider says, is Batman not going to have any cops in it at all? So apparently it's just Batman. It's just Batman fighting crime in Gotham. You know, so Batman doesn't have any place to drop the bad guys off at. You know, once he catches them, he just catches them. That's it. That's how it works now. Make sure Batman only gets white heterosexual bad guys, right? Well, yeah, because we can't show anybody as being bad. It's not. Look, can we talk about equality? Look, I understand that there have been negative stereotypes of people and you know, people from different backgrounds and groups. But at what point do we just act like we're just going to just suspend all reality whatsoever and make up things? You know? Christopher says, stupidity, able to leap tall building in a single bound. Batman is a detective. Will stupid Twitter cancel Batman? Yeah, God forbid. You know, Batman solves a crime. You know, I mean, I mean, he's a vigilante, I guess, but would you know, if he beats up somebody of color, is that wrong? Getter says exactly. Christopher Empario says, Christopher, I know, but people seem to believe it is. Christopher says, cancel culture. And that's what I think we got to stop this stuff. Thanos snap, cancel culture. I like that. Just get rid of him. What's up, Jeff? Good to see you, man. Getter says, already have, man. Andrew says, dude, don't jinx the Jim Gordon thing. If they do that, I'm going to lose it. Andrew, that's exactly where I'm at. Like I said, when I saw that there were talks now of Paw Patrol and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and people literally suggesting that got me riled up enough that I felt like I had to make this video. Dark Tasty says, 2 of my best friends are police officers, and I also have a cousin who is a sheriff, and they are great people who have upheld the law and their oath. And Darth Tasty, we all know that there are more stories like that that aren't being told in all of this. Canceling shows is stupid. It's not going to change anything. Instead of defunding the police, fund them more, then use that money for training and reformation of police departments. And that is really what we need. We need to be able to root out people who are going to cause these types of issues. We need to be able to get to the root of it right at the beginning and say, look, if these people exhibit these kind of behaviors, if they have any kind of, what are their backgrounds? Where are they coming from? What are their ideas on certain things? And if they don't show that they can deal with this stuff in the right manner, get rid of them. Weed them out right before, at the very beginning, because this is garbage. Gator says, Darth Tasty, yeah, of course, we need the police, and especially if they're good people. And that's the thing, we need good police. We need good people to want to go into that profession and do the right thing. And it says again, yes, I absolutely agree. Bring Mr. Rogers back, right? Mr. Rogers, man, taught us so much back in the day, Jeff, about what it means to respect people, to respect one another. And we really need to get back to that. We really need to get back to that. Of respecting one another, of showing one another love, showing each other respect, calling right, wrong, wrong. Like I said at the beginning of this video. So these two people who downvoted, I don't see them talking. We've gotten to the bottom here. I've got one more comment here from I believe it's Geider. I've got one more comment and that's it. And he says, Enosh, you're the absolute first that gets my username right. Thank you. I am glad that when you got a name like Enosh, you're very thankful, and when you get somebody's name right, because I try to get people's names right for sure. But man, Mr. Rogers taught us so long ago to love one another, respect one another, to treat people with kindness. You know, if you guys haven't seen the Mr. Rogers movies that have come out, there was one that was a documentary, and then there was one that was with Tom Hanks. The other one, though, that was the real life story of him. Like they talk about like the scene back you know, when the civil rights movement was pushing hard back in the late 60s and early 70s and everything, and they talked about how Mr. Rogers, yeah, won't you be my neighbor? That's right. Mr. Rogers, you know, did something that people thought was crazy back then, you know, by having a black man put his feet into a kiddie pool with him to cool themselves down together. And if I'm right, the black man was a police officer. He showed a black man as a authority figure, as a police officer, and showed the equality, showed the mutual respect and love for one another even back then. And then on top of it, you know, Mr. Rogers was a Presbyterian minister. I mean, he was a police officer. He was a volunteer firefighter. He did a lot of different things. And even so, like the guy who portrayed that black police officer who did that, he always talked about how much he loved Mr. Rogers because he respected everyone. And turns out, like he was a gay guy himself, and he didn't have any problems with Mr. Rogers because Mr. Rogers didn't have any problems with him. Mr. Rogers loved everybody and respected everybody. But it half makes me think that if Mr. Rogers was on the air today, my lord, we'd have to cancel Mr. Rogers too, because Mr. Rogers, you know, wants everybody to get along. Can we please stop? That's really all I have to say tonight. Can we please stop this? Can we please move forward with some reality, with some mutual respect, with love for one another, and not get sidetracked on all this stupidity? Because canceling police shows and movies and Paw Patrol and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and you know, God forbid, you know, Commissioner Gordon, That's not going to solve it. That's crossing a line. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. It's avoiding the real problems. And frankly, I think that's what keeps us from solving the problems. When we avoid the real problems, we don't talk about the real problems, and we avoid them, and we talk about all this other junk instead, and we give service to these other things. It keeps us from solving these problems together as a society. So that's what I got tonight. Look, I know it's not the biggest nerdy thing in the world. It may be controversial to some. We may not all agree. But I hope that at the end of the day that we all can admit that we need to let love reign. That we need to let love conquer the multitude of sins and care for one another. So find somebody this week, care for them. Find somebody this weekend, care for them, show them love, show them respect. Find somebody of another color, of another gender, of another sexual preference or orientation than you. Find somebody different than you and show them some love and respect and expect nothing in return. How about that? How about we do that? And Guider says, I'm right there with you. Let's get back to being human at heart. Let's get real respect and real equality. See you tomorrow night, says Jeff. Thank you, guys. So one quick thing before I leave. Also, tomorrow night, beyond doing the concert, tomorrow night I'm going to be on somebody else's channel. So there is a guy called The Ambassador. I'm going to be on his channel doing a watch party with them of Jurassic Park. So we'll be talking about that. I will have to, I'll put out a community post about that where you guys can find me there tomorrow night. I think it's going to be starting at, I want to say it's 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, but it's somewhere around there. So we'll be watching Jurassic Park. All right, guys. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming up for you. Got some cool interviews coming up for you with different people. And the concert is going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So be here for that. And but like I said, we got some cool stuff coming up. We got some more council stuff coming up. We got more guests. We're partnering with a lot more channels. Next week I'm going to be interviewed for another channel for some discussion and some good things for the Poindexter Lounge. And we're glad to have you here. And by the way, speaking of people taking care of things and being right to one another, happy Superman Day. Today's Superman Day. So there you go. I put out a little video earlier today saying that, but for those of you who joined me tonight, happy Superman Day. Let's do like Superman would do and love everyone. Okay, guys? Until next time, my name is Enosh, a.k.a. Enosh Fett. Love you guys. I respect all of you. Respect all of your opinions. Thank you. Somebody took away one of their downvotes. I'm glad to see that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Because that's... I hope that we can all agree that we do respect each other here. We may not always agree, but you know what? The reality is at the end of the day, let's respect each other, right? Let's have dialogue. Let's have communication. And that's all we can hope for and all we can expect. All right, guys. Thanks. Until next time, if you missed I saw some people come in. If you missed this, rewatch the stream. I would love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget this month, if you do give to the Patreon, you're put in for the giveaway of the Weird Al Yankovic DVD. And would love to be able to give that out to you guys for sure. Somebody's going to win it. Why not you? It's the complete Al, lots of Weird Al videos on there and stuff, and so you guys can get that. Also, we're getting ready to, we've done a partnership. We're going to be giving some comics away with some various videos and stuff. Going to probably do that, probably with some nerd trivia. And so make sure that you're sharpening up on your comic book and pop culture trivia, because we'll definitely be asking some questions here and giving away some comic books to people. And I got a bunch of these comic books to give away. They were given by someone here who watches the channel, and we're going to help promote their eBay business. But they're you know, that's all they're doing. They're not paying us anything. They're giving us stuff to give away for the channel, and so we want to help them out. We want to give you guys some free cool stuff. All right. Thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. Love you all. Appreciate you. Until next time, stay nerdy. Bye-bye.